Chapter 140, A Strange Heavenly Tribulation. Using heavenly thunder to temper the flesh. Throughout the ages, I'm afraid that only a few people would be able to do so. Fortunately, the crowd couldn't see the heavens in the midst of the thunderous light, or else they would have been absolutely stunned. Search reading Nesauduo. Under the 9 terrifying heavenly thunderbolts, Li Laoqi was smashed and spat out blood. His body was in rags. But he was a little better than Kangchon, because he was powerful, and he also used his true essence to protect his body. And he even had the Overlord Lance, a treasured weapon to defend himself, and the impact he received was relatively smaller. Kangchon, on the other hand, completely absorbed the entirety of the 9 heavenly thunderbolts' attack, and the powerful lightning power instantly shattered his clothes before destroying his flesh, revealing a piece of ghastly white bone. However, as Kangchon's hegemonic blood absorbed the lightning power and then released his life energy, Kangchon's flesh was rapidly recovering, and in the end, not only was he restored intact, but the strength of his flesh had also increased by several times. When the first wave of heavenly thunder passed, the huge life and death stage was already in pieces, and Kangchon and Li Laoqi were both directly blasted into a deep pit. Everyone was extremely shocked. This was only the first wave of heavenly thunder, and it was so powerful. How should the 8 waves behind it be overcome? Kangchon. Li Laoqi quickly rushed out from the pit, glaring at Kangchon with an angry face. The power of the heavenly tribulation was more terrifying than he had imagined. If he didn't die with the Overlord Lance, he would have suffered serious injuries in this first wave. Moreover, the Overlord gun is an offensive treasure weapon. The defense is only a little stronger than a normal spiritual weapon. Li Laoqi is not sure to survive the next 8 waves of heavenly thunder. Not bad, old man, you still managed to hold on to a wave. Keep up the good work, Kangchon also jumped out from the big pit, glanced at Li Laoqi and said teasingly. Li Laoqi was able to hold on to a wave was in his expectation. After all, the other party was a Jidan stage flare powerhouse anyhow, and there was also a treasure weapon to protect him. But with the power of this heavenly thunder, this old guy was able to hold on to 7 waves at most. Li Laoqi was furious when he heard this, but immediately the sound of rumbling came from the sky. He gritted his teeth and had to sit down immediately and swallow pills to recover from his injuries, because immediately the heavenly thunder is coming again. Seeing this, Kangchon no longer ridiculed him. Anyway, this old man could not live for long, but he also did not swallow pills, because his true essence did not lose at all, but instead strengthened a lot. Just now that wave of heavenly thunder, he completely used his flesh to resist it without using a bit of his true essence. And when Kangchon hegemony blood absorbed the power of the thunderbolt, not only did it release some life energy, but it also contained some pure true essence. So not only did he not lose any of his true essence, but it increased instead. After carefully sensing the strength of his current fleshly body, a trace of surprise flashed in Kangchon's eyes at this moment. His fleshly body was more than 10 times stronger than before. This was only the first wave of heavenly thunder. Once he passed through the 9 waves of heavenly thunder, then to what extent would his fleshly body be powerful? I'm afraid that by that time he wouldn't need true essence. He would be able to smash Li Laoqi to death with a single punch. Come on. An excited light appeared in Kangchon's eyes. He began to look forward to the next wave of heavenly thunder to come soon. If Li Laoqi knew about it, he was afraid that he would be so angry that he would vomit blood. Rumble. The robbing cloud seemed to sense Kangchon's battle intent and began to tremble violently. Then it once again spewed out 9 beams of light, just like 9 volcanoes erupting. The 9 heavenly thunderbolts once again descended and descended, the piercing light illuminating the entire heaven and earth. How come so fast? Li Laoqi stood up with a swish. His face was unsightly as he stared at the 9 heavenly thunderbolts descending in the sky. When he first crossed the tribulation, each wave of heavenly thunderbolts were separated by an hour, which was like this now, where they descended before half an hour had elapsed. Lileoki's heart is very anxious. His loss of true essence has not yet been fully recovered. He could not help but curse himself in his heart. If he had known just now, do not and Kangshan nonsense, delayed for such a long time. Unfortunately, he no longer had time for regret. 9 unrivaled heavenly thunderbolts swooped down. The powerful energy swept down, like a flood that had broken the embankment, engulfing the entire life and death platform in it. The crowd watching from afar couldn't help but let out a cry of alarm. This second wave of heavenly thunder was unexpectedly much stronger than the first wave. I'm afraid that Kangshan and Lileoki would have difficulty in passing through this time. On the life and death stage, Kangshan was directly blasted into the ground by the heavenly thunderbolts, and a huge thunderbolt penetrated into his body. Kangshan clenched his teeth and resisted hard. The terrifying lightning tore through his flesh and blood, destroying his bones, and the drilling pain destroyed his will. Kangshan endured the intense pain and clenched his teeth, so quenching his flesh, forging a piece of fine iron in a blazing fire, sublimating extremely in the endless hammering to reach a higher level. Puffing la, tilde. The purple blood within Kangshan's body was tumbling as a pure lightning energy was absorbed into it, then spewed out a thick life energy, repairing his fleshly body that had been ravaged by the heavenly lightning. At the same time, a pure true essence penetrated into his dantian, causing the true essence in his body to once again strengthen quite a bit, and had already reached the peak of the first layer of the Jidan stage. Soon, the second wave of heavenly thunder also passed, and the crowd watching realized that the life and death platform had already disappeared, and there was only a deep pit left in the field. And then two wretched figures rushed out from the deep pit. It was Kangshan and Lileoki. In fact, Kangshan was not in a sorry state. After being repaired by the life energy, his physical body had once again strengthened a lot. Reaching a terrifying level, he was even more powerful than before. On the contrary, Lileoki was really in a sorry state. His only remaining ragged clothes had long since turned into dust. And at this moment, he was exerting his true essence to protect his spring. Light from leaking, his appearance was incomparably wretched. Ha, not bad old chap. Let's see if you can still survive the third wave of heavenly lightning. Kangshan looked at Lileoki's appearance and laughed. HMPH. Lileoki ignored Kangshan. He immediately swallowed pills to recover his injuries. He knew that the heavenly thunder was coming fast. There was no time to waste. This second wave of heavenly thunder had already left him in a sorry state. At this rate, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to last through the fifth wave of heavenly thunder. Looking at Lileoki, who was sitting there meditating and recovering, a cold light flashed in Kangshan's eyes. He was considering whether to settle this old guy now. After all, he had now broken through the Jidan stage, and his strength had been greatly improved. One-on-one, Lileoki at the 9th level of the Jidan stage was no longer his opponent. Even if he possessed a treasure weapon, he was not afraid. After all, Lileoki had been bombarded by 2 waves of heavenly thunder and had suffered considerable injuries, and much of his true essence had been depleted. However, after considering it again and again, Kangshan still gave up the intention of killing Lileoki right now. After all, there were still 7 more waves of heavenly thunder, in case he pissed off this old guy and exploded his inner Dan to fight for his life. That would be bad. Rumble. Soon, the third wave of heavenly thunder began to descend. The vast pressure came from the sky, and the terrifying energy swept through the entire space. Lileoki was awakened at the first time. His face was incomparably gloomy as he stared at the robbing clouds in the sky. The power of this third wave of heavenly thunder was fully twice the power of the first wave of heavenly thunder. Each thunderbolt was equivalent to the strike of a strong person of the peak of the 9th level of the Jiden stage. Even if I die, I won't let you cross this heavenly calamity. Li Laoki glanced resentfully at Kangchon, who was not far away. He had completely despaired in his heart. He would not be able to survive this powerful heavenly tribulation, and he had already decided to kill Kangchon while he had the chance. However, the third wave of heavenly lightning was about to descend. Li Laoki had no chance to kill Kangchon at this moment. He could only activate his true essence once again and resist the bombardment of the 9 thunderbolts. On the other side, Kangchon once again entered the layer sequence of destroying, quenching and absorbing. His physical body continued to strengthen. The true essence in his body broke through a kind of limit, and he entered the second layer of the Jiden stage realm. Entering the second layer of the Jiden stage, Kangchon felt that his strength had become even stronger. Especially the strength of his fleshly body had reached a terrifying level. He felt that he was afraid that his fleshly body was already comparable to a spirit weapon. Kid, there's a killing aura. When the third wave of heavenly thunder passed, Emperor Dan's voice suddenly came from his mind. Kangchon instantly stood up in sweat as a powerful force attacked from behind him. Kid, go to hell. Li Laoki grimaced. The overlord gun in his hand was like a comet rushing in, instantly appearing in front of Kangchon. The crowd watching from afar was in an uproar. Obviously, everyone knew that Li Laoqi had already given up on life and decided to pull Kangchon's back before dying. In reality, this was expected by the crowd. After all, after 3 waves of heavenly lightning, Li Laoki had already suffered a not so slightly serious injury, and he would definitely not be able to survive the heavenly tribulation. Damn it! Jin San Shao, Wang Taizhong and the others bristled anxiously and stood up, glaring at Li Laoqi in the distance with a face full of anger. Li Yuanba and the 9 princesses had a hint of a grim smile in their eyes just now. They were the ones who had transmitted their voices to inform Li Laoki to take advantage of the opportunity to kill Kangchon. And as a condition, after Li Laoqi's death, his family would be taken care of by Li Yuanba. Who was Li Yuanba? That was the future head of the Li family. With this word from him, Li Laoki obeyed at once. After all, he knew that he wouldn't be able to make it through no matter what. So he might as well take advantage of the opportunity to bring his family a good life. Li Laoki rarely thought about his family for a moment. This might be the moment before a person faces death and regains a kind heart. But, on the stage of life and death, when Kangchon heard Emperor Dan's reminder, he immediately turned his head and grabbed his right hand towards the incoming overlord gun. Seek death. When Li Laoqi saw that Kangchon actually dared to use his hand to grab towards the overlord gun, he could not help but show a cold smile in his eyes. Is the might of a treasure weapon something you can resist with your hand? However, Li Laoqi's cold smile immediately solidified as he saw an unbelievable scene. Li Laoqi, is this your power? It disappoints me too much. On the life and death stage, Kangchon tightly grasped the overlord gun and coldly smiled as he looked at Li Laoqi, who was filled with shock. This is impossible. Li Laoqi's face was full of unbelief. He absolutely could not believe the scene in front of him. Kangchon actually really grabbed the overlord lance with his fleshly palm, and that powerful energy directly penetrated through the barrel of the overlord lance, shocking him out. Wow! At this moment, the crowd watching from afar also stood up with a brush sound, all of them looking at this scene incredulously, a look of shock appearing in everyone's eyes. This scene was too shocking. Like a god of war, Kangchon directly grabbed the overlord lance, and his entire body surprisingly did not take half a step back, only sinking a little deeper under his feet. The mighty overlord lance hadn't even pierced his palm. What kind of powerful physical body was needed to have this kind of strength?